Right, it is 1:42 a.m. as I'm recording this. I'm meteorologist Tanis Leach coming at you with some scattered thunderstorms that have popped up over the Willamette Valley and the Coast Range. I expect the chance to linger through at least portions of Saturday, though midday should at least be dry. So this video will be an update on those chances. And speaking of looking at the radar image, this was the radar image from about 12 to 12:22 a.m. showing the scattered thunderstorms primarily Yamhill County southwards in the Willamette Valley. Coverage of these thunderstorms is about what I expect tonight going into Sunday morning. High end, probably about 50% more coverage. Low end, probably about 25% of this coverage. So there is still a range, but this is about what I am expecting. And based on reports I've gotten, at least Corvallis has had a good light show, and I'm pretty sure Eugene did too with these cells. Speaking of lightning, this is the satellite imagery, still imagery at 12:41 a.m. with lightning detection on. So all of these colors up here are lightning that has been recorded from the satellite, which is, for Pacific Northwest standards, pretty dense. That's showing anything other than the green colors, though still nothing compared to what's happening in Las Vegas right now in terms of lightning density as the monsoonal moisture pushes up from the tropical Pacific on up into our area. That does mean the flow pattern will be southeasterly, meaning everything will move to the northwest, like what was happening last night. That's a pretty optimal thunderstorm flow pattern here. That's not going to change over the next 24 to 36 hours or so. So some forecast notes that due to the scattered nature of thunderstorms, they will not happen everywhere. If it does happen, get to an indoor facility if you are not already in one. Your car is perfectly safe. So if you are in a car, they are a great place to be because severe thunderstorms are also not expected. I think a lot of this will be elevated lightning with some cloud to ground lightning being possible. One thing I've also noted is that the Coast Range does tend to overperform compared to models in this setup where we have a trough offshore and to the south of Oregon, pushing in that monsoonal moisture. If it is like what happened earlier this week and last week, where we have a trough that is moving up through the Willamette Valley or directly off the coast or north, that's more of a Cascades. It's set up only with maybe a cell or two leaking into. All right, and on to our forecast models here. I will start with the regional WRF GFS model. And a theme you'll notice tonight is that the high resolution models have not been performing well with this batch of thunderstorms. So let's move this throughout. So this is 2 a.m. right now, and it's showing absolutely nothing over the previous 3 hours, which obviously has not verified. Let's move this throughout. Few cells in the Washington Cascades, primarily before more popping up over the Oregon Cascades and going into the Willamette Valley as the sun goes down Saturday. And by Sunday morning, that thunderstorm threat does go down. It does slightly ramp up in the Cascades during the evening hours, but not as much as on Saturday. And then let's move this into Monday and could show more or precipitation here, but I don't expect this to be thunderstorms. I think this will be primarily our good old-fashioned fall rain showers. Let's move over to our other suite of models. So let's start with the Canadian model. And this one seems to be acting weird because let's move this throughout time. I will stop it early on Sunday morning slash on Saturday night. So let's go rewind from 10 o'clock on Sunday, and it's like these cells aren't even moving. It's like this is performing a little bit weird to me, and it's showing it primarily over the Cascades, and like the other models, not really showing a lot tonight. So this is at 11, and it showed absolutely nothing tonight. So let's move over to another model that showed absolutely nothing tonight, the North American model, and I will change this over to the most recent run. One thing I will note about this model is that the previous few runs were showing more prolific activity than the E6Z run, which initializes at 10 p.m. Doesn't really show a lot as we go even into the wee morning hours of Sunday with just a few cells. Like that might be the biggest cell that this model is showing, and this is Sunday at 1 a.m. over the Central Cascades. And let's move over to the HRRR model, the last on the high resolution models that I will show here of the conventional one. I will show one experimental one, however. Showing a little bit more over the Cascades, still showed nothing over the Willamette Valley tonight. And more cells bubbling up in the early morning hours, Sunday slash late hours on Saturday night. So this is Sunday at 2 a.m. and showing weaker thunderstorms over the eastern Portland metro area, but continues as a broken line up into the Puget Sound and into the Olympic Mountains. Now, for an experimental model, I'm going to go to the RRFS model. I will rewind this one run since the current run has not been completed at the time of recording. This one also didn't show any thunderstorms tonight, but tomorrow it is showing a little bit of activity, e- especially over the Cascades, and then more numerous thunderstorms in southwest Washington, primarily south of King County. All right, on to our global models to show the upper level setup and why I think thunderstorms are least possible. I'll start with the American model and go to the Euro model afterwards. There is a few troughs that are situated off to our coast, with the parent trough being located where my cursor is now, and a subtrough being located with these lighter blue colors to the southwest. That is bringing in that monsoonal moisture, and with the ridge being weaker than it was compared to the previous week and a half, that is also increasing the moisture content that stays west of the Cascades. Because that ridge still exists east of the Cascades, not expecting much in the way of moisture there. So I'm only going to advance this through about Tuesday, so that parent trough starts to merge with the subtrough on, that's too far, on Saturday night into Sunday morning, which ends that thunderstorm threat before that trough moves in, bringing that rain on Monday and Tuesday before sliding south and getting dry weather back in on Wednesday afternoon to Friday. Let's compare this with the European model, showing a very similar or setup with the parent trough merging with the subtrough early on Sunday morning before moving ashore, bringing us that rain on Monday and Tuesday. Last thing I will show is the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook. No severe weather expected, just general thunderstorms. And for the fire weather outlook that they put out, similar thoughts to me, where most of the moisture will stay west of the Cascades, and any thunderstorms that occur east of the Cascades are more likely to be of the dry variety. All right, on to our timeline, just so you all know the chance to hour ratio. I do expect a few isolated cells this morning, but any cell that does form, I don't expect to last very long, maybe even as short as 10 minutes. Low temperatures will be around 60 this morning before warming up to a high temperature of 79 degrees. Now, I know some of you are going to be going to college football games today, with both Oregon and Oregon State kicking off at 12:30. I don't really expect a thunderstorm chance there. But as some models before the evening updates did show a chance, I'll keep a 10% chance officially on here. As we go into the evening hours, that chance does increase. I'm seeing the chances about 40% at any given location. So you're pretty much about just as likely not to see thunderstorms versus seeing it. So I'm using the word scattered, but because the chances are higher than last week, I'm using scattered versus isolated instead. Those thunderstorm chances do die off quickly on Sunday morning, not long after the trough merger. The temperatures here are for Corvallis for the record, but temperatures in the Portland area are expected to be very similar. So, starting with the South Valley 7-day forecast, high temperatures will be much more pleasant compared to what we were dealing with over the recent weeks, with temperatures hovering pretty much within 5 degrees of average throughout the forecast period, with Monday and Tuesday being the wettest days before drying off later in the week. Low temperatures will be cooling off into the mid 50s starting on Monday night and continuing to the foreseeable future. And in the Portland metro area, very similar story with just the low temperatures being a couple of degree warmer or hovering right around 60 degrees. So that is it for this video. I do expect that this is going to just be a one-off video. So unless if the thunderstorm threat extends further into Sunday than I am currently expecting, or it happens to be more significantly more numerous than I'm expecting, or the one or two models that are showing a chance of thunderstorms on Monday, hey, actually verifying, I don't expect that, but I'll just throw it out there as something that a few things are picking up on. If those any of those things happen, I'll come out with an update. If not, this will be it. So if you're going to any of the college football games, have a great time. Otherwise, stay safe out there and take care. And as a little PS, since I need to support my alma mater, go Beavs.